Hey y'all, and welcome to this week's Whiskey Wednesday. Today I've got Turnpike Troubadours, an all-time classic band with Pay No Rent. And I've been missing them a lot lately. And because of that, I've been kind of digging into older songs of theirs that I really hadn't heard much. And when Pay No Rent came up, it really took a hold of me. And it was one of those ones that made me go and read the lyrics and listen to it a few times to really try to understand the song. And just based off the lyrics, I think it's actually a little bit difficult to understand. So I went searching online and I found his performance in Pace Studios where he actually explained what the song's about, and it really put the whole thing into perspective. So I'll kind of explain it as it goes, but the song was written about an aunt of his who'd owned a bar in Oklahoma. She was a big-time drinker, and Evan really identified with that, and he and her would drink tequila at 10 a.m., according to that interview he did. Now, his aunt was sick. She was dying, kind of slowly on her way out. And this song is a lot about the time they spent together, him reminiscing on her at the bar, and something he played at her funeral. So the first verse of the song really opens there. It was reminiscing on the time that he and her spent together, playing dominoes in the bar, him kind of jokingly blaming the losses on her and maybe her questionable sobriety. And he writes that it takes a lot of blood and tears to love someone, which, as you may know, if you've ever had somebody sick and dying of something, that's definitely true. You know, whether it's cancer or, you know, some other kind of like long-term illness, you know that their time is ticking. And yet every moment you spend together needs to be special, and it's kind of hard to be happy and sad all at the same time. And so I think this line really brings out that feeling. But he does say it's heaven on earth when that love comes back around, when you're both enjoying time spent together and you're not thinking about, you know, the end that could be coming up kind of soon. Now, really, the song doesn't tell you any of that, but there's anything wrong with his aunt until he says, "You never know till the end, my friend, what your love is really worth." And this is when it kind of starts setting in this song that something might be wrong. Why is, you know, the end mentioned? So then he moves into the chorus. The chorus is just kind of talking about his aunt, and paints a picture of her kind of bartending to all different kinds of customers, whether that be the common folks or the well-to-do, as he calls them. And then he says he'll carry her in his heart with no rent, meaning, like, you know, he's always going to be thinking about her for far into the future, and it's not hard or taxing for him to keep her in that, you know, special beloved place in his heart. Now, the next verse after the first chorus really kind of foreshadows her death, where he says, "We all know you gotta go, but does it have to be so soon?" He's really admitting it. He's painting this picture for the listener. And he references the bar that she owns after that. "I hope you found everything you wanted in the place you loved the best." And I think it just means, you know, maybe she didn't leave much. Maybe that's where she called home. But for her, that was where she was comfortable. That's where he and her kind of grew their relationship. And I think, you know, it was just very special to both him and her. Okay, song ends right there. After the next chorus, he's really saying that her death must be very imminent. Maybe that, you know, she was really approaching the end, because he says the fighting time's over and it's all gone. And we pick up the pieces and move on. And so he's really saying that her light went out. She did pass away. And again, when you know the backstory to the song, it hits that much harder. The final chorus really gets pretty loud and builds a lot musically, and then just really pulls back, where with a couple of, you know, acoustic guitar strumming, he kind of repeats, "In my heart, you pay no rent," just saying, I'm going to remember you. You're going to stay with me. Now, without the backstory, without me listening to that interview, I would not have liked this song as much as I do now, because you realize that every single line in the song has a very distinct meaning when you know what he's writing about and what he's talking about. And I think that's why Evan Felker is such a great songwriter, and that's why so many of Turnpike's songs are amazing, whether they're true stories or fictional stories. They really do a great job of bringing meaning out in the lyrics. Now, this song does make me think a little bit about my grandmother, who is in the hospital right now. She's been fighting this infection that the doctors had to clear out. And then after that infection's clear out, the doctors need to address the cancer that she has. So she's beaten cancer, twice already. And it's one of those things where you can just tell it keeps coming back, and she's definitely fighting it, and she's doing a great job. But it's never good news to hear it's back again, She hasn't left the hospital in like 6 weeks because she has to be in rehab at this point, and she's up in New York. And even because of the distance, it's still hard not to think about. So if you've got anyone who's fighting a long-term illness like this, maybe listen to this song and keep them in mind, because it'll really make you feel a certain way. That's it for this week's Whiskey Wednesday. Y'all take care.